Ah, ah, ah. Strength of the strong. Ah. Oh, oh. Ah, yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Probably not. Because it's a short story, somewhat. Oh, maybe approaching a novella by Orwell. What do we know of Orwell? George Orwell, 1984. Everybody's like, look, they're all going to be looking at you and you're going to be afraid to fucking be right. And, oh no. And here we've come to that. But the thing is, if I've got the right author correct, there was a story I read once where it was Bug. He was the singer. He was just this little guy that would sing, and they would do whatever they wanted him to do. So you can say somebody that sings with science. You can say somebody that sings with just their celebrity, where they can say, you should do this or you should do that. And they all argue. You can talk the difference between Ted Nugent and what's her name? This is no joke. I'm trying to think of her name right now. Taylor Swift. You can think of those two people fighting against each other, trying to. And the thing is, it was a singer who was able to allow these people to crush the other people until they ended up in the trees again. Troglodytes live in caves. Somewhere between a troglodyte and a human lives in the trees because it's smart enough to know these fuckers are coming after him. Boom. But that has nothing to do with any of this. It doesn't even have anything to do with the new year coming on. You know, this date or the next, it doesn't change anything. I did want to talk about, if you really want to understand things in your own terms, like you want to be your own person, read it the way it means it to you. And I'm about to do that. Give me a moment. Shang-Chi. Deng Yisha. I believe that is what it is in Chinese. Deng Yisha. 1 second. Give me a moment. Give me some time here. The idea is that sometimes you have to be able to read things in your own way. And I know you do. But why not let somebody else share something with you the way they've read it? This is E. Proulx. This is actually a friend of mine that was in a tanker unit. I went to high school with. He ended up in a tanker unit, and I was airborne. And in some way that I never understood, he always reached out to me, to the point that I was in his wedding a few years ago. He found me. That's not the easiest thing to do. But long before that, he was keeping in touch with me, and he would share things. He shared with me this book, The Shipping News. Andy shared this book with me. by E. Annie Proulx. Why do I share this with you? It's exactly what I'm talking about right now. The ability to speak in a language that somebody can understand. What I gather is that Andy understood me to be a person before he ever even saw me speak other languages. He understood me to be a person that spoke another language. The same way that I see him. We can share this. We're speaking English, but we're speaking in a way that we understand each other. There's never an argument, though that is allowed. There's never an argument. We understand each other. And we understand each other to the point that we're not sure if we were even against each other to begin with. Never felt that way. The truth is, it may be. I'm going to put my glasses on. I'm going to show you this book. Remember, this is what it's about. It's about speaking another language. And the shipping news, when he gave this to me from E. Annie Proulx, and I want you to know, I read the book. Before I get back to my reading of it, I'm going to tell you that Kevin Spacey played the guy Coyle in the book. He was the protagonist, I guess they'd call it. But in my opinion, he was just a guy that was there. And there was a thing that happened through the years, his timeline. It's not that he's the protagonist. He didn't make anything happen. He was just a part of everything that happened. He's your little David Copperfield, the little guy that all kinds of weird stuff happens around. But he thought differently. The movie wasn't very good, is what I'm saying. They couldn't touch upon it. The idea that he thought differently, so he spoke differently, if you were to read his story. And E. Annie Proulx, she did this. She just, from the very beginning, started talking. And from the very beginning, I really didn't understand the way she was doing it. But by the time I was about quarter to halfway through the book, because I did not back out, I understood how she was writing. Coyle nodded, hand over chin. That's a big deal. He always had his hand over his chin. He had a big chin. He was shy of it. Let's not forget. And if it doesn't finish it by the end of this paragraph, I'll tell you what we don't forget in this book. If Partridge suggested to leap from a bridge, he would at least lean on the rail. The advice of a friend. Mersalia, I'm saving the heel for you, lovely girl. It's the best part. Come out here. Mersalia put the cap on her pen, weary of writing of prodigies who bit their hands and jeered around parlor chairs, spouting impossible sums, dust rising from the original carpets beneath their stamping feet. I want you to know I just opened this to that. And if you were to take it slower than I read it, and I read it slowly because I've already read it 30 years ago, I know what it is. So I read it at a pace where it was meant to be. But if you read it more slowly, you're going to get it. You are starting to realize you're reading words that are art. She did this, and Andy gave this to me. I've got another copy up there, but I had a third copy once. I gave it to a friend as a birthday gift, and I put a $20 bill. And years later, probably 20, 30 years after I gave this gift, look at me. Do you believe me? It's the truth. I'm trying to change my image so you can't see that I'm not as old as it would make me to be unbelievable. But that girl, I said, did you ever read that book? And she said, no, I didn't. And I'm like, do you still have it? And she's like, no, I would. So the fact is, I gave this book, this very book, my first copy. This was a rewrite. I got this again. That meant that she lost the $20 bill. I put a $20 bill in. Oh, no, I just broke the binding on the phrase dead man. I put a $20 bill in that gift that I gave her. So when she opened to the next page, she would find it and she'd say, oh, happy birthday, instead of just a dumb, stupid book. I tried to give her that surprise, but she never read the book and she let it go behind her. And if nobody else reads that book, it's in a goddamn landfill somewhere in San Mateo County, somewhere around there. I don't remember who it was. But the truth is, there it is on the dead man page. There it says really loud. It says really loud. It says, for God's sake, help me. Everybody has seen the Plimsoll lines or loading marks on vessels. They mark the safe load each ship can carry. Whatever it is, I'm telling you, it was there's a language to this that you cannot have somebody tell your story for you. You have to tell the story yourself because it's your story. And this one, I just found this in there. Oh, look, adult, Big Sky of Montana. It's straight out of my hometown and then into Montana too. But there was something in there. And I'm going to just read one more line to a paragraph just so you can see there is a language. It's a song. And that was the idea with the Chinese. You know, it's the song that is in there. Wo neng bang ni ma. Can I help you? You never say it that nice. It's always, can I help you? It's a threat. You're like, they think English is so nice. It's as aggressive as German. Wo neng bang ni ma. Can I help you? There she is. They peered through the streaming windshield. The battery yacht stood out from every other boat at the wharf, tied up between a sailing yacht whose Australian owners had been there for 2 weeks. And so I read this whole damn book, and by the time I was done with it, I needed to have it again. I gave one away. I bought another one. And then another one showed up on a shelf for 10 cents because they were going to throw it in a dumpster. So I've got another one over there if you want it. But this is what it is to be an individual, a writer. Once you start hearing the way their song is told, And then I bought this too because I liked her so much. Andy told me buy Heart Songs. It's a book of her poems. And I'm not going to say that this is any better. I'm going to tell you this. Maureen split wood in the bare yard, surrounded by a circle of broken bark. A blue sheet of cloud marbled with heat lightning lay against the horizon. So I see in her book of poems, I don't appreciate her language as much as I do in this. This talks about a guy getting ready to fix some shingles on a roof and he can't face it, but he does it because he got no choice. And by the time he's done, he's good at it and he's not afraid of heights anymore. That just one line that I read you sounded like it wanted to be so important. We can't be important. If there's one of us that's important, that one of us will try to run everybody else over. Why not just be one another rather than be important? Why not be quiet? Why not allow things to work? Happy New Year.